is, believe it or not, in spite of everything I just said, there's actually one thing I'm excited about giving a chance to for some very specific reasons. And I'll tell you why. This is what I kind of want to segue into now, and my second topic here. And that is Ghostbusters Afterlife. I want to be clear. Nothing's changed from what I've always said about Ghostbusters Afterlife. With the culture we live in now, the way the entertainment is, the way the entertainment industry has made it abundantly clear, these are their priorities, these are the rules they go by now. It's insanely naive of you to just simply say, I'm so excited about such and such, it's going to be amazing. That kind of the days of that pre-authorization that you would give to a film or a series are long gone. Long gone. You're ridiculous if you still give that kind of pre-authorization. And what I'd said before is that we're also far, far, far removed from the days where it's like, give it a chance. How can you judge it unless you give it a chance? You got to see. No, that's stupid. That is asinine reasoning. It's very ignorant reasoning that doesn't understand the culture today, or the culture that the entertainment industry works in today. That chance is all they want. You just keep giving them your chances, and as I've said, that's all they buy the ticket. Who cares what you think about it afterwards? That's what their agenda wants. That's ridiculous. To give it a chance, not stupid. So what do? Well, a film would have to earn you giving it a chance. Now, how does it do that? Well, we're living in the days now where it's not, well, I don't know what the movie will be about until I go see it. No, we're far beyond that. Have you signed on to the internet anytime recently? All the trailers that we get, all of the interviews, all the leaks back, behind the scenes, and all these kinds of things, you can pretty much know a good idea of a film before it comes out. All of that has to be in line with what a movie should be. And then the cast and crew, they need to be respectful. They need to be saying the right things about the film and so forth. And the film has to look like, as what they presented is going to be in the right spirit of and in respecting and whatnot. And I have to say, Ghostbusters Afterlife has met those criteria. It really has. So I'm excited to give it a chance. Could be garbage. I don't know. I'll go see that and find out. People talk about, it's going to be a bait and switch. Well, what can it be baiting you to switch to? It's already said, it's already closed down the old continuity. It's not like Star Wars, which is like, come on and watch our Boba Fett series. It probably doesn't have anything to do with our other continuity. No, there's no other continuity to link Afterlife to. They've retconned and stopped the whole 2016 nonsense. So what else could it be trying to switch to? Now, there are still some legitimate concerns that I've heard about what the movie might do. Fanman in particular has some interesting concerns that I agree to a point, and I hope he does a video, because he'll be able to explain these much more than, or much more in depth. And I don't want to speak for him to a certain degree, but I just want to give the gist of it, which I agree. It's going to be a real problem if Venkman, Stance, and Winston show up just as a cameo at the end. No, they need to be in there for a bit more. Yeah, the children are our main characters. Fine, the children are our main characters. Develop things, but we need more than just a little cameo. Definitely. So we'll see how that goes. I've also heard things about people saying, well, or a fan man, he's said, for example, it said that we should have gotten the Ghostbusters franchise story that Aykroyd had been talking about. That's what we should have received. And I agree. I mean, yeah, we should have received so much more from Ghostbusters so much earlier. We should have received a proper, timely Ghostbusters 3. I love the idea, that franchise idea that they were going after. That, yeah, we should have had that. And then you could have had, talk about a wonderful cinematic universe. You could have had that. You could have done series about this, franchise of Ghostbusters over here, and you could have done movies about the main characters still and so forth. And the thing is, though, that continuity does exist. It exists with the video game and with the comics. So it is a thing. That continuity exists. And it's different than the real Ghostbusters cartoon continuity. That's a wonderful continuity as well. But that's kind of like a alternate universe of Ghostbusters, the animated version, the real Ghostbusters. Whereas the continuity of the Ghostbusters, that's like a divergent universe of the actual Ghostbusters, cinematic Ghostbusters, that already exists in comics and the video games and so forth. Fan films have done, like I said, there's one great fan film which is takes the trope of Oscar, Dana Barrett's son, all grown up. And Venkman had married Dana Barrett and raised Oscar as his own, as a stepfather, and got him a role or a position. And I think like the San Diego or some Ghostbusters franchise in California or whatever. And it's an interesting little fan film. You got stuff like that. The problem with now, though, and I've also heard other people say that they don't want a passing of the torch. We're tired of passings of the torch. We love these characters for a reason. And hey, I get that. I'm down with that completely. At the same time, with the Ghostbusters, those stubborn people have waited so long to actually give us a proper Ghostbusters 3 or another film in that continuity that, I mean, Harold Ramis is tragically passed now. All of them are quite old at this point. Not that they're too old to, play these characters anymore, but I don't think they're going to want to keep doing these kinds of films and so forth. They're getting close to retirement stage or whatever. So we can't really have that logistically now. Too much time has passed. And that would say, okay, well, what do we have instead? I don't want a passing of the torch. Like, I don't want more movies with these kids going out and being Ghostbusters. They're like preteens, teens. They're too young to go get a sequel and be Ghostbusters again, And we live in a day and age, like I said, the entertainment, the culture that our entertainment industry operates in, I do not trust them. I do not trust them to go set up a series of sequels and set up a series of Ghostbusters movies now. It would only be a split hot second before the agenda started creeping in. Right now, the entertainment industry is just, they're just so mad that this movie got made and that the 2016 agenda-ridden one was rejected. They're so mad, and they're just, and they're hoping that this will just die. Well, if it doesn't die, and if sequels were started to be greenlit or whatever, trust me, the entertainment industry would start weaving those little tendrils in there in a matter of seconds, and they would have agendas in the next movies in a heartbeat. So I don't want this to turn into multiple films. I'm not looking for Ghostbusters 3 because we can never have Ghostbusters 3. The closest we got to that was the video game, and it was great. Play it. It's not a movie, so the cinematic story isn't the same, but it's the closest we got to that. And then you've got the comics and so forth. Maybe its own kind of multiverse kind of thing. But so we can't have Ghostbusters 3. So what do we have? Well, I mean, to work in the franchise story would be having a Ghostbusters 3 in a franchise. I mean, if they did this movie as a Ghostbuster franchising kind of thing, then that's begging for more movies to make. That's begging for another series to be made. And I don't want that. I don't trust Hollywood to do that. So instead, this is saying, okay, is the TV spots, Fan Man pointed this out in one of our back messenger discussions. One of the TV spots have talked about, Paul Rudd's character says there hasn't been a ghost sighting in 20 years. So there's no Ghostbusters since Ghostbusters 2 in the continuity of this film. Story-wise, that kind of makes sense because the universe of the Ghostbusters wasn't a universe in which ghosts had always been causing all this trouble. It was because of the event that was, Gozer was behind and so forth in that first film. And then the second film, these things are rumbling up again because of Vigo and so forth. So occasionally you have these kind of bumps in EK, or PK activity and so forth. And that's what causes these things. So it's not a constant. It's not really a constant. Like, you can't actually have Ghostbusters operating like exterminators do, just 24/7 all the time, year round, year round, year round, year round, year round. The premise and the precedent the movies themselves have set up is that these are things that just kind of spike every so often. So the franchise opportunity is really cool, but you kind of have to come up with some really creative reasoning for why, from now on, this is just the way ghosts are always, You'd have to come up with some creative reasoning for that. And I think that this movie, we can't have Ghostbusters 3. Too long has passed. In light of the blight, the gross slap in the face, the disgusting thing that was the 2016 Ghostbusters, which just said, nothing you love about Ghostbusters matters. Nothing matters. We'll just brush it aside and put our agenda, dress that up in the Ghostbusters uniforms, and there you go. And it's wonderful that the culture said no. Fans said absolutely not. They didn't support it. Sony doesn't have the wherewithal that Disney has to just say, screw you, we're doing what we want anyway. So they had to stop it. And they let the original people come back. Ivan Reitman producing, Jason Reitman, his son, directing, all the, Aykroyd, Bill Murray, everybody back, Annie Potts and everyone. So it's going to be a great, what I'm hoping for, and what I think I'm going to get, I don't know, but it's earned the chance. What I think I'm going to get is a love letter to fans of the first two movies. An acknowledgement that children embrace these adventures, these characters. So we've got children as their characters, but they're descendants of the original characters. So we're not just brushing them aside and replacing them. And if we have those original characters come back in a weighty, uh, proper, effective way, then we could really get a wonderful kind of love letter to fans and an assertion that we're not going to let Ghostbusters go out with that 2016 nonsense. And if this is the last Ghostbusters movie, I would love that. If it was good, if it was wonderful, and it really kind of put a bow on things and gave us a snapshot of where the characters were so far down the line. If you've noticed in that still shot of the last trailer, you do see all three of them, including Winston to the side. You see his hand, with the proton pack. You see Venkman has a wedding ring on his hand, so I'm guessing that he hopefully married Dana Barrett at some point in that continuity as well. So yeah, this could really give us a wonderful little bow at the end of the Ghostbusters cinematic continuity for the cinematic universe, and we still have the wonderful multiverse. Hey, put out an animated series where they franchised back in the day in a divergent continuity. That'd be wonderful. Wonderful. But cinematically, I don't want, Fan had a great idea, and I think he's really true. That's the way I wish it would have gone with that franchise and everything, but I don't want that now. I don't want you to still make a franchise movie work now, because that begs for more films. That begs for a series. And Hollywood, do not trust them. Do not trust them. This is a lark. This is a total lark that Sony didn't have the wherewithal to push its agenda through despite poor sales. So they had to go back and make this movie for some sort of recoup, because Sony's not Disney. And then the fact that we got the original people to work on it like this is not something that happens all the time. So I don't want it to spawn a bunch of movies, but I think it could be good. And I think it could be a real kick in the face to the people who do push agenda through no matter what. So that's why I'm excited about giving Ghostbusters Afterlife a chance. I'll definitely talk about it afterwards, after I see it, give you a review of it and tell you what I thought about it, if it delivered, if it didn't or not. This Saturday night, my goal is to do a playthrough, try to do a full playthrough in 2 or 3 installments of the entirety of the Ghostbusters 3 game, so you can get the whole story. I've tried to do that once and then I just got busy or whatever. So that's the plan. We'll see how that works on Saturday night.